Hello, I am Neo-Norman, truth seer, real deal, rebellious commentarian, red pillar. I'm here because I want to talk about something in the news this week, about this Oriel model, Oriel model, a trans model with the braids. She's been fired because she said all whites are racist. It has been a big fiasco, big media backlash over this. People left coming to say, oh, you're offended, but it's true, and people from the right come to say she's being racist. So I'd like to start off by this all whites are racist response. The response to this, I'd like to say, firstly, we're not. You can't even talk about people as groups. You know, you can't even make a statement for all people. You can't do that. But I'm saying you now explicitly that we are not. I've talked to so many white people, and we're not. That's the first thing I'd like to say. And because it talks about, makes note of microaggressions, as a lot of people have, you know, as signs of sort of, you know, this little inbuilt prejudices we have because of socialisation. I'd like to point out that on the street, if I'm walking down the road and I see a black person, let's say they're probably wearing a hoodie, maybe they're walking quite intimidating, I would probably cross the road. But I'd also cross the road if a white person wearing a hoodie, looking intimidated, and was across the street road. I'd cross the road if a lady was talking loud on her phone. Or I'd cross the road if someone had one of those young people with their prams, white or black, just eating McDonald's. I'd probably cross the road. I often cross the street to avoid my mum, or anyone in my family. I don't trust people. I'd cross the road. I just cross the road. I don't like being on the same side as anyone. I don't really go outside. And it's these little interactions, these little superficial judgments. They're like a survival thing. It's like an evolutionary survival of the fittest. The fittest. If we see something dangerous, different, then I don't say I'd be microaggressive towards it, but I mean, what even is a microaggression? It's a small aggression. I think I'm probably micro scared, but out of a sort of brave scare. I want to survive, you know. Breadwinner. So I guess in that way we are racist. But I'm also sexist and all the other ists, because just anything is scary out there, because it could hurt me. It was different. Everything's different to me, and that's quite scary. Difference. It just scares me, and it's probably scared the cavemen when they saw one of the Asian people, maybe a cave, they were, oh, what the hell, ugh, that's a club. They clubbed the Asian baby to death, probably, like an alien. You know, because they think these aliens are going to come in, and sometimes I have dreams where black people are putting eggs in my brain. So it's like a sort of invasion, you know, it's survival of the fittest, and it's sort of that survival gene. So she's right, we are racist, we are all racist, sort of. If socialisation did it, I mean, yes, Western civilization's built on the back of sort of a semi-white supremacy. Like, we definitely fought much of ourselves, or themselves. I should distance myself from slave trade owners. But I mean, I think if things had gone a bit differently, I say someone got to this place first, conquered that place first, if the Mayans fought back against the conquistadors, and if things happened differently. Who knows? Maybe the ethnic minorities that we call the minorities in Western civilization now, maybe they'd be the majority, and maybe probably their existence would be built on the back of slaves. White slaves, Latino slaves, if they're not Latino, slaves. Human instinct, really, to take slaves. We just do it with fought wars, take slaves. The first instance of slavery is the Berberian slave trade, the one where the black people took the European people. I don't know, people always talk about it in forums and stuff. And the Romans took slaves, lots of European slaves, everyone's a slave. English people are slaves to the Romans, Celts, slaves. We just love to slave. So we're all racist. And socialisation is racist. But that doesn't mean I'm racist. It sounds a bit nihilistic, that, doesn't it, to say that all humans are shit and inherently shit, and that we'd probably all take slaves. So it does, but we're not racist. Well, either all racist, we're all in it together, or no one's racist, and it's all just sort of complicated. It's not complicated, it's very simple. I'm not racist, we're not racist. It's racist to say that. It's racist to say I'm racist. I'm calling you racist. Not all of you. That's racist. Look here, Missy. You're the racist one. Saying things are racist. Racist. Except you're not racist. But is it racist to say that? I mean, in her response, she called racism a structural thing, and I was under the impression we were post-structuralism. But I might be wrong. Maybe everything else is post-structural. Structuralism sort of hinges upon the fact that maybe there's these inherent structures in society. It's almost too good to be true. I think that society is a bit less. No, society is great, is good, but structuralism sometimes seems a bit like a utopian ideal negative. Things just happen sometimes, but I think structures would still happen within that. I don't know. It's a bloody perspective, isn't it? It's a perspective. I just don't want to talk about that other perspective, the structuralist perspective. It's not. We're post-structuralism now. I checked. I went on Wiki. I checked. Is it a simplification just to call something structural? Is it structural? Structural seems a bit fairy tale-esque, a bit utopian. Don't you think? It seems a bit like the bloody utopian ideals that just get, just drag us down into like virtue signalling and then just dreaming up these big money trees and these big weird, this institutional insidious racism. If it's so insidious, how would we even know about it? I mean, the New World Order, sort of them establishment, I wouldn't put anything past them. It's a sort of dystopian concept that I guess goes hand in hand with the utopian concept of a world post-racism. Does that exist? Can we exist post? Will I ever look at someone who looks different to me and think they don't look different to me? Will I ever not superficially judge? Because I do all the time. I'm looking at some things in front of me now, and I'm just superficially judging these things, just my surroundings as an animal. But we can't do anything about it. There's nothing we can do about it. I mean, she clearly states some things we can do about it, but the dialogue is very simplified, isn't it? It's called something structural to just say all of something. It's quite a complex situation. I think it's probably quite complex, and maybe the dialogue should have some sort of empathy for how complex it is as a scenario, as a situation, as a subject, because it's very complex. Except it was quite simple. I'm not racist. I'm not. I'm honestly not racist. funk. I mean, I'm not racist. I have a black friend. Yeah, his friend. I love Samuel Jackson in films. I mean, in a way, it's all about the debate, isn't it? The dialogue created. Except she shouldn't say that. We all agree, freedom of speech, you know, we should be talking about these things, but she shouldn't say that. It's quite hurtful, really. People have said sometimes the reason was you deny accusations like this is because deep down you know it to be true, like, you know, the way bullies attack things, and the insults that only hurt are the ones that we know deep down to be true, but that's not true. I mean, it's not true. I mean, I'm not even thinking about being racist. I don't put a second thought to the idea that maybe we are racist, or maybe I'm inherently racist in some degree, or that all whites or all... How can all a race be racist if that race is a race? What? Well, Western civilization is great. I mean, I'm not being like nihilistic. It's not perfect, but you know, it allows for people for the freedoms to be depressed and disgruntled, and it gives them the freedom to realise that the system is not perfect, and you know, has been bred on the backs of lots of horrible things. So it's great in that It's great. Western civilization is great in that respect, that it allows people to realise how shitty everything is. Except, well, it's not shitty because it's great. Do you see what I mean? But because it allows us to realise that we all probably would have taken slaves, and we all would have, you know, socialised that, and we all are probably not that great human beings. That's not true. I don't know why I'm saying this is going off script. And the Western civilization is a sort of utopia in that sense. I can say that as a sort of utopia. It's a utopia that can recognise how it has been and can be, and sometimes is for some people a dystopia, but it's not a dystopia for everyone. It's not a dystopia for me. Sometimes, you know, not always. I guess that the slave trade did happen, but haven't we made reparations? We've paid money. I mean, I guess we should still make reparations, because even though if everyone would have taken slaves, everyone takes slaves. It's a thing you do. It's willy-nilly slaving in history, slaving all about the shop. But we're the ones now, I guess, who are we? But there's a certain establishment in power with money, and in a way, even though they abolished slavery, they're the ones, you know, they're the last the buck stops somewhere. Does it? Does the buck stops somewhere? They have to pay for the buck. Someone's got to pay. The buck's got to stop somewhere, I suppose. It sort of leads into all the Black Lives Matter stuff going on in a minute. I mean, I'm not going to get into police shootings now, but the sort of the people are calling Black Lives Matter a black suprematist movement, aren't they? As they're calling the alt-right a white supremacist movement. And I mean, the organisation doesn't have the affix only Black Lives Matter, which I suppose is important, but it does say Black Lives Matter and doesn't say other lives matter. But is that because they're just trying to focus in on one thing, you know what, and just really hit that hard, really give it that go, a solid go, without getting confused, but mucking up and putting their hands in too many pies, too many live pies. There's lots of lives in the world in danger. I guess they're just trying to, you know, just in America, very specific life to save. The same way you get a donkey charity that just saves donkeys with bad knees. I mean, the thing is, I've worked very hard for my position, and I don't like the sort of we get sort of like positive discrimination. I mean, I suppose they're calling it a positive thing, but discrimination's a negative thing. It's like, oh, positive, negative, or they're calling it positive discrimination when you sort of, you know, I've worked hard. I don't think I should. I feel irrelevant because of the colour of my skin. I mean, I suppose maybe that's how some of them felt at some point, but it's not my fault. I mean, what can we do? I mean, we can quotas. we could make quotas. Quotas are sort of racist, aren't they? To say we need so and so many of so and so people. I guess that's racist, but it's a sort of positive racism. Positive racism. It's saying this very muddy, complicated thing she's brought up with calling everyone racist. Is this sort of, racism used to combat further racism? So that way, less racism. More, if we create a sort of selective positive racism to combat the negative racism, positive and a negative make a thing, don't they? A non-racism, less racism from more of that sort of quota racism. Did protests do anything as well? I mean, I suppose they seem a bit weird and pointed, but then I guess if it would seem weird if they didn't happen, but like the fact that they do happen, is that? I mean, obviously when they're for good causes, like the causes I believe in, they're great. If they didn't happen, it'd be weird, but if they do happen, is it just a thing? No, it's not just a thing. No. Concrete protest, changed history made. I mean, what else can we be doing? She said, I feel that in her response, on an interview I saw her talking about how we can be enabling black people. I saw something where they could talk about how if we're selling our house, make sure we sell it to a black family, unemployed, or things like this. Or we can talk about. I heard her talking about enabling black voices, black to give them platforms to sort of talk about them, to protest, go to protests, to just. I mean, but I very rarely go outside or talk to anyone, and I mainly just work. And then when I'm not working, I'd sort of do my free time. Do my spare time. That's sort of my life. I don't really have a platform. I mean, I've got this, but no one's. But yeah, I mean, I don't really. What can I do other than hope that I'm not racist or pretend that I'm not? Because if I pretend I'm not, I suppose I am not, in a sense, because I'll enact it. Or I mean, it's dreadfully confusing. I find myself at petrol stations and gas stations. And I see a black person walk in, and I'm like, this is fine. And then my mind's thinking, was that racism? Thinking this is fine. And then I go, no, it's not racism. It's just. And then I think that thought to say it's not racism is racist. So maybe I'm sick, but I don't know what else I can do other than have these little battles in my head. And I try to talk, make a debate about it. I guess we can do that, but what else am I meant to do? I mean, enable black voices to be heard. I haven't really got a celebrity status or platform where I can just sort of put out a poster or a picture and get lots of people to see it. I don't really know what else I can do. I tried sort of waving and greeting every black person I saw, but that seemed a bit. I think they thought that was a bit racist and weird to do. But then I'm making up for the fact that slave trade owners didn't do that. They would have slapped them. You know what I mean? I don't know. I don't know who I should be positively engaging with or not. I'm a bit stuck. Ultimately, we all have self-improvement things to make. I've got to get better in my diet. I mean, I can add microaggressions on top of that, and I will, but does it help saying that? Does it help letting people know you got to be better? Does it help anyone, being constantly told how they can enhance their lives and the lives of others? I'm not sure. It does. I mean, nothing I do seems to make any difference to anyone, apart from in this conglomerate sort of sense of being a white person, maybe, and then I just feel a bit pointless, like maybe the real effect is that no lives matter. You know what I mean? And that nothing makes any difference. But that's stupid. That's nihilism. That's not what. No, it's nihilism. That's this rubby, scummy scummy, smug nihilism. I'm sorry about that. It was just like that was a joke. That was a slight faux pas, slight weakness of will there. No, sorry, yes, yeah, that's not what I wanted to talk about at all. I'm a bit stupid nihilist. Obviously, lives matter, and my life matters. My life matters very much. So you can. My response to that, as you can tell, was a very sort of truth-telling, red pill, cutting through the bullshit response to this model. You know, just getting to the heart of the matter and giving you the answers there to this one. Continue to red pill the world with me. I've been Neo-Norman, and I've given you the facts. It's all about the facts, the truth, and the rebellious commentary here. Tune in and tremble at my wake. I've been Neo-Norman. Thank you. Thank you.